the adventure to begin on my way to Hebden Bridge. Time to get the second train, the one that connects from Manchester Victoria to Hebden Bridge. Hebden Bridge is a beautiful market town in West Yorkshire, between Leeds and Manchester, and just over 50 miles away from Liverpool. The sandstone mill town hides in the steep upper Calder valley of the Yorkshire Pennines, where River Calder meets Hebden water. It's surrounded by hills and other mill towns. Until about 200 years ago, most people lived in the uplands rather than the valleys. It's Heptonstall, a village 100 metres away from Hebden Bridge, and not Hebden Bridge, which is the oldest settlement in the area. Until 19th century, Hebden Bridge consisted only of this old bridge over Hebden water and the White Lion Hotel. The steep gradients had restricted transport to the pack horse prior to the 1800s. In medieval times, most residents of this area avoided the low-lying, swampy valley floor and chose to live on the tops, descending only where necessary to cross the fast-flowing tributary streams such as the Hebden by fords or simple timber bridges. But the Industrial Revolution in 19th century opened up new routes and brought commercialism to the area. The new valley road from Halifax to Burnley, now known as A646, the Rochdale Canal, the opening of Manchester Leeds Railway in 1839, and the development of mills and other industries and services made Hebden Bridge a major centre for manufacture of workers' clothing and led to a population explosion late 19th century. So Hebden Bridge began as a settlement between Halifax and Burnley. The steep hill with fast-flowing stream and access to major wool markets made Hebden Bridge ideal for water-powered weaving mills, and the town developed during 19th and 20th century. It was once known as Trouser Town because of the large amount of clothing it manufactured. However, like all other mill towns, asbestos-related illnesses both for workers and the people living nearby was a big problem, and the collapse of the textile industry saw people leave the valley in droves. People left Hebden Bridge, shops were boarded up, half the houses were empty and getting knocked down. The town became dilapidated and grim. But Hebden Bridge had raw beauty and cheap but handsome properties which lined up on the valley side. In 1970s and 1980s, the hippie archetype became prominent in UK, and Hebden Bridge and surrounding area became a magnet for artists, musicians, photographers, new age practitioners, and green activists who added their own creative touches. They bought shops and houses and even got elected to council and transformed the place. This led to a boom in tourism in the area. Musician Ed Sheeran was born in neighbouring Halifax but raised here on Cliff Road in Hebden Bridge. Poet Ted Hughes was born in neighbouring Mitham Road, and his wife and prominent American poet Sylvia Plath is buried at the churchyard in Heptonstall. The Bronte sisters were born in Thornton, to the northeast of the town. In April 2005, a magazine declared Hebden Bridge as the 4th quirkiest place in the world. In 2014, the Tour de France came through Hebden Bridge. However, a negative part of being in a valley is that you get flooded regularly. And sadly, Hebden Bridge, which sits in the Calder Valley, was badly flooded in 2012, 2015 and even last year in February 2020. Today, the town is thriving and very popular with ramblers and cyclists. Just 5-minute walk from the railway station on New Road is the Palatial Picture House Cinema. It's a community-owned cinema which dates back to 1921 and has Art Deco interiors. It's one of the main places of entertainment in the town and is one of the last civic-owned cinemas in Britain. Behind the cinema, you've got the gentle flow of the River Calder and the Calder Holmes Park, which provides stark contrast to the busy and noisy main road in front of it. From the picture house, I walk a couple of minutes to the Hebden Bridge Open Market in Lees Yard, just off St George's Square. This is a compact market made of less than 40 stalls and runs from Thursday to Sundays. It was Sunday today and the market was buzzing and full of locally sourced foods and arts and crafts. In keeping with the town's personality, the market emphasizes on selling sustainable and fair trade goods, and there's a lot of different things to choose from, even clothes for your dog. In 2016, Hebden Bridge Open Market won Britain's Best Small Open Market Award. Masala dosa here. How cool is that? A Bengali guy orders a masala dosa, a South Indian dish from an Indian who's listening to reggae music. Awesome, love it. The old bridge over the Hebden Beck is a 2-star listed structure which was built around 1510. It's this 16th century pack horse bridge which gives the town its name. During the ancient times before Industrial Revolution and the construction of roads, travel was only possible via the ancient pack horse route which ran along the hilltop. Horses carried goods along the routes in the hill and dropped into the valleys wherever necessary. These horses used this bridge to cross Hebden Beck. It also helped to link up the people of Heptonstall with the rest of the Calder Valley. The town ultimately was built around this old bridge. It replaced a medieval bridge built out of timber. Over the years, many repairs have been carried out on it. Sitting under the bridge and watching the docks and bays is such a therapeutic experience, and it is arguably the best spot in the town. I've had half of this masala dosa in St George Square and now half next to the old bridge. What a sight, what a place. This dosa is incredible as well, by the way. It's absolutely lovely. Anyway, I'm going to carry on eating and yeah, see you guys soon. Near the old bridge is the Hebden Bridge Town Hall. This is a Grade 2 listed Victorian building from 1897. In recent years, it's had a new community and business building added to it and provides a hub for various organisations, and it's also used as a wedding venue. In 1950s, houses in Hebden Bridge became cheap and people would buy them or squat in them. Many of the houses were like slums and they were unusual as they were known as top and bottom houses. These top and bottom houses are unique to the town. At first sight, they may look like a 4-story townhouse, but it's actually 2 houses built on top of each other in the steep hills, with front doors at the bottom giving access to the lower house, and the back door on the higher hill giving you access to the top house. So the lower house only has windows on one side. A good example of this is Birchcliff Road, where musician Ed Sheeran was raised. The double-decker housing allowed landlords to make more money but also maximize space on the steep valley side. The town encouraged more hippies to move in and efforts were made to make it clean and attractive. The old residents gave them warm welcome as they were talented people. The hippies came here thinking they could do self-sufficiency and was seen as a revelation in the area. I walked along Aldgate Road, which led to Market Street. This road is beautifully aligned with small shops side by side. You won't find any mainstream shops here. In fact, Hebden Bridge has a reputation for having an unusual high density of independent shops for a UK town of its size. In 2016, the town won a Great British High Street Award, and when you walk along Market Street, it's easy to see why. Hebden Bridge has a large art and music scene. On Market Street, part of the former 18th century Grade 2 listed Baptist Chapel has been converted into an art centre called Art Gallery. Much of the industrial heritage and beauty in the Calder Valley comes from the network waterway that cuts across the area. In 1804, the Rochdale Canal was completed. This threads through the Pennines for 32 miles between Manchester and Sowerby Bridge. It has over 90 locks, allowing vessels of up to a width of 14 feet to pass through it. Hebden Bridge lies on the Rochdale Canal, which flows across the south end of the town. On Stubbing Wharf Lock 11, I came across this gorgeous cottage where Lockman James George Maynard lived in 1916, over 100 years ago. The canal towpath is clean and spacious. Make sure you give yourself a lot of time to enjoy a peaceful stroll or cycle along it. You'll see many traditional and colourful narrowboats on the way, and even see the trains whooshing by on the nearby hill. If you're lucky enough to own a boat, remember you need a key to operate the canal lock and to use things like the water pumps. After a lovely stroll, I made my way to Heptonstall Road to venture out to the picturesque village of Heptonstall, only 100 metres away from Hebden Bridge. Oh my god, it is a steep hill up to Heptonstall. But what an amazing view. Just take a look at that. Absolutely incredible. Here you go. Breathtaking sight, isn't it? People are very lucky. People are very lucky to live around here. The view that you get is absolutely incredible, but There are some steep hills. It is difficult. It's hard on the old knee, but we keep going. See you in about 25 minutes up there. Located high on the valley side, Heptonstall is considered to be part of Hebden Bridge. It's made of quaint alleys and has spectacular views of Hebden Valley from all angles. The medieval village's lofty location meant that it remains pretty much the same for the last 200 years. Heptonstall was the site of a battle during the early part of the English Civil War in 1643. From early on, farming families made extra income through weaving from local wool. If you look at the cottage and terraced houses, you'll see that they have large first floor windows to allow a lot of light for weaving. Today, in the middle of the village is a broken 13th century church and a former 18th century grammar school building, which was later converted into a museum. Uniquely, Heptonstall has two churches within one graveyard. In the churchyard extension of the Church of St. Thomas the Apostle is the shell of the 13th century St. Thomas a Becket church, which was abandoned after a storm in 1847. It was built between 1256 and 1260, but a great storm in 1847 caused the west face of the tower to fall away. Some repair took place and the church remained in use up to 1854, when the present church, St. Thomas the Apostle, was completed for £7,000. Today, the ruins of St. Thomas a Becket Church are carefully maintained. It's open to public and sometimes open-air services are conducted here. There are said to be over 100,000 people buried in the churchyard. One of these is American poet Sylvia Plath. Sylvia killed herself after she left her husband Ted Hughes, who wasn't always the gentleman. She accused him of abuse. But Ted had her body brought back to Heptonstall and ordered her gravestone to read Sylvia Plath Hughes. So feminist campaigners regularly went to the gravestone and chiselled off the Hughes. A visit to her grave is almost a must for her fans, but her grave is difficult to find. Sadly, I was unable to find it and there was no locals to ask. Opposite the church, the former Heptonstall Grammar School building, dating from 1771, has now been converted into a local museum. The original school was founded on this site in 1661 and closed over 220 years later in 1889. The museum showcases village life and contains history of Heptonstall across hundreds of years, including the story of Cragvale coiners, a ruthless gang of 18th century counterfeiters who made fake gold currency to boost their little income from weaving. It's easy to miss this building without realizing. I walked past it several times and had to do a detour in the graveyard and even ask a local couple before stumbling upon it. From the museum and the church, I went to the Towngate Tea Room. This is a small cafe within Heptonstall. My mobile charge was going down and I needed to charge my mobile, so it was an excuse to take a little bit of break and then go in there and just charge my mobile as well. And the people in there is absolutely lovely. There was a man and a woman who were serving and they were incredible. Within there I ordered what was like Biscoff cheesecake, absolutely delicious. Never tried that before and oh my god, it was divine. But what's so funny is they said the cafe was dog friendly and I didn't know what it meant by that. And then when I walked in and then I asked to sit in the front table, they were no, that's reserved for the dogs. Which I found quite hilarious because it's the first time I'd heard such a thing. But yeah, it was quite nice and cute. But yeah, the guy was absolutely friendly and the woman was really nice as well. Yeah, the service was incredible. The food was delicious. Definitely try that Biscoff cheesecake. Oh my god, it was incredible. What was quite hilarious as well, I asked the guy for direction to Hardcastle Crag and he literally went to nth detail, telling me exactly where to go, how far it will go, 100 meter on this road, and then on your left you'll see a small space which is so many inches wide. And I was just gobsmacked because it was so endearing when he was telling me this level of detail. And I just looked at him and I just laughed, and at the end I just said, listen, I'm not going to remember half of the thing that you told me, but I'll try my best. But yeah, he was exactly right. But it was incredible. Just the people of Heptonstall were really nice. There isn't that many people, but they were really, really friendly, those who I met. Just over a mile north of Hebden Bridge is Hardcastle Crags, also called Heptonstall. This is a 400-acre National Trust site with everything you want in a woodland. Bubbling river, sound of nature, haven for wildlife and rugged gorge and terrain. There are over 15 miles of footpaths to explore and the main track is suitable for prams. Hardcastle Crag is open all year round and is free to enter, but there is a small parking charge. If you get a chance, go also in spring season when the bluebells flower and give a violet glow in the woods.
Oh God, okay, that was a amazing little chat with the locals. Just as I was crossing the bridge, a couple of locals were there and then just talking to them and the elderly couple. And then they said to me that, look, if you are going to walk, rather than going through the main roadway, take the scenic route just before the cottage itself. As you just guys seen, you'll see a small little pathway. It's easy to miss, and they said that's a scenic route that takes you along the river rather than the noise of the traffic. So yeah, if you guys are walking, definitely go this way. This is absolutely beautiful, so much more relaxing than listening to car noise and whatnot. And obviously you've got the stream, got the sound of nature as well. So yeah, see what happens when you talk to locals. The knowledge is incredible. Yeah, lovely people as well. Checklist. Done.
Standing strong and all by itself next to Hebden Water is the Gibson Mill, a 200-year-old water-powered cotton mill in Hardcastle Crags. It was built around 1800 and was one of the first mills of the Industrial Revolution. It's off the national grid and 100% self-sufficient in energy, water and waste management. Back in Victorian times, most people in Hebden Bridge worked in mills or farms, but many of the mills were run as cooperatives. By 1870s, the weavers actually ran some of the mills, and weavers were encouraged to learn other languages during their breaks. University lecturers even came to Hebden Bridge to give talks on various subjects. However, Gibson Mill was stopped being used after the Second World War and was bought by the National Trust in 1950. They continue to own it and hold different exhibitions throughout the year.
Oh my God, that was one hell of a walk. Yeah, the path along Hebden Beck, which is the river that flows to Gibson Mill, is absolutely breathtaking. It's so relaxing. I'm sure you can still hear the noise of the stream and the water flowing. The walk from that bridge to here is not 20 minutes, it's about 45 minutes. So if you guys are intended to come this way, then be wary of that. And it is tough. A lot of pebbles, a lot of rocks, a lot of undulations up and down, really hard on the knee. You've got to make sure you wear nice shoes as well. Silly old me, I've bought my Astro today. I don't know why, I must have been an idiot. Got a pair of hiking boots in the house and decided to come with Astros. But yeah, coming here is stunning. Look at it, absolutely brilliant. Big cafe just behind here, which is buzzing with a lot of people. And the beauty of the path as well, when you're walking along, is you meet so many incredible families, young, old. They're all smiling. Everyone always saying quick hello, hi, encouraging you and whatnot, giving you direction if you just want if you want to know. Initially, everyone says it's only 20 minutes, but honest to God, it's 45 minutes walk. It is a long, demanding walk, so be a little bit careful. I mean, I came this way. The chances are I'm not going to walk back that way, because it is, like I said, it is really hard on the knee. And especially if you're in a bit of a rush, because I'm only here for say a few hours, within Hebden, bridge and the surrounding area. So if you're tight for time, don't come that way. Probably get a taxi, to here. But if you're not, then come, enjoy the walk. It is breathtaking. It is really, really relaxing. Can't hear a single car noise at all. All you hear is the flowing water, and just nature, and it's so therapeutic. And this site is incredible. Such a privilege to be here, standing next to what was a building of historical importance, and which ran the local economy along with every other mills as well. It is stunning. It's very picturesque, by the way.
I continued the final part of my day out walking through the Memorial Gardens on New Road near the picture house. Here there's a poignant tablet dedicated to everyone who lost their lives during the two world wars. On the way to the train station, I walked through Calder Holmes Park, a beautiful wedge of greenery with children playground, a skate park, cafe and big flat field to play various sports. The sight of the high valley sides from this open lawn is something to behold. The towpath of the Rochdale Canal runs along its sides. There are boats offering cruises where you can soak up the Calder Valley scenery and the Yorkshire Pennine Hills at a leisurely pace and learn lots of new things. Maybe you can experience firsthand how a lock works.
Everybody within Hebden Bridge must not suffer from arthritis or any back pain. Honest to God, it is hard work. Obviously, a lot of steep, a lot of undulations, but it's an incredible place. Heptonstall, Hebden Bridge, Hardcastle Crag. It's an absolutely gorgeous place, and the community is very authentic, and it's a perfect place for nature lovers. If you love your greenery and you want to go there with your family, it's lovely. It is a small place. As I mentioned, it is very community focused, and ultimately what I found is that when you're walking along, people are incredibly nice, as like with most places that you tend to travel to, and even though that it's very popular, it's full of dogs, they're still in the lid, on the lid, and as a Muslim, I can't touch a dog, so for me it's really nice that they're not letting their dogs wander and whatnot, so they're quite careful not to spoil it for anyone else. And ultimately the city itself, for me, or the town itself I should say, sorry, and the village of Heptonstall is probably the best example, or best preserved example of a mill town, Yorkshire mill town, with all its mixture of old and new. And although some might say it doesn't represent the honest Yorkshire town like it once used to, but the mixture of both the old and the new, with this old with a lot of these creative people who's come along and added their own personal touches, has made it very welcoming. And me myself, I found it incredibly nice. When I was droning away, I had an elderly guy come up to me, ask me about the drone, and it turns out that he's from the northeast, and he'd come with his a female friend, and they'd visited Liverpool as well. And he was really interested in what I was droning away. I asked some people when I was droning whether they were okay, and they were really fine with it as well. And then when I was within Hardcastle Crag, I was walking along, I met a few Pakistani brothers as well. They'd come from Halifax. They sat off and they'd on a bench, and they'd even offered me tea and everything. And they were really impressed by the fact that I was traveling by myself, but they were incredibly friendly. And then I ended up chatting with them about their travels, and they were we were just talking away, chit-chatting away. when I was coming back on the railway station, I met a couple who were from Macclesfield, and they told me a few places that to visit also, and they were incredibly lovely. The guy was an actual author as well. He's writing the history of Macclesfield. Yeah, so all in all, my experience of Hebden Bridge was really nice. I would recommend it to people. I went there for about 7 hours. I think it was a bit short. I would like to have stayed there a few hours longer, possibly gone there for a day, just so that I could look at other places like Studley Park, like Lumfell, and there's so much more surrounding Hebden Bridge as well, and in Heptonstall. But yeah, thank you to both of those places for making my day, or half a day at least, really lovely and memorable. And yeah, definitely recommend it to everyone. Go and check it out. It's a beautiful place, and yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to go back there again. Take care. I love this.